the flower in the hair was an idea of Nike's. So the flower is the national flower of the Philippines. It's called the Sampaguita. And kind of the whole idea behind it is
The queue outside Court 6 was already 100 meters long before the first ball was struck. Navratilova didn't praise Alex Eala. She criticized the Australian Open. Let that sit. 18 Grand Slams. 4 decades inside the sport. When Martina Navratilova goes on Tennis Channel after a first-round match and publicly calls out tournament directors for a scheduling error, that is not a compliment wrapped in concern. That is a legend telling the sport it underestimated someone it shouldn't have underestimated.
That I want to be number one. Little did I know that I would,
It's hard to imagine that now because we're so far removed from it that it's almost hard to
percent. I think sports has always been on the front of social change.
Shocked was the word people used watching that broadcast. It fits. The match was on Court 6, a mid-sized venue. Thousands of fans queued past Rod Laver Arena in the afternoon heat and never made it through the gates. Eala's post-match press conference live stream pulled over 100,000 views that day. More than Sabalenka, more than Alcaraz, both competing on the same grounds.
Hi everyone, I'm so excited to be back. Can't wait to be out on court and I hope to see you there.
Of course, we have to mention Alex Eala, the incredible fandom coming, across the globe, especially from the Filipino community. So
now we came here because she's also here, of course.
That same month, a Nike t-shirt featuring a Sampaguita flower designed by a Manila-based artist released through a single Philippines retailer set a sales record no one officially announced, gone in 1 minute. The resale market opened internationally before Manila had processed what happened. Subscribe before this channel grows and you lose your spot in the early community.
I feel so honored and I feel so blessed. The flower in the hair was an idea of Nike's.
The uncomfortable part of this story is not what Eala destroys. It's what it revealed about how tennis has been measuring popularity all wrong. Let's start with Melbourne, because that's where the proof became impossible to ignore. January 19th, 2026, Day 2 of the Australian Open. Alex Eala, ranked 49th in the world, was scheduled on Court 6, not a show court, not Margaret Court Arena, Court 6, a mid-sized venue that seats a fraction of what Rod Laver holds. The Australian Open organizers looked at a 20-year-old Filipina in her first ever Australian Open main draw and decided that was the right call. They were wrong, badly wrong. By the time match time approached, the queue had stretched all the way back toward Rod Laver Arena. Fans had been waiting for over an hour. Most of them never got in. They stood outside in the afternoon heat, watching on big screens, packed shoulder to shoulder. Philippine flags everywhere. Chants of "Let's go, Alex!" bleeding through the walls of a court already beyond capacity before the warm-up finished. Melbourne has one of the largest Filipino diaspora communities in the world. The organizers either didn't know that or didn't think it would matter at the first round stage. It mattered enormously. Inside, it was a different kind of chaos. Every point Eala won detonated the crowd.
Tournaments are such great experiences for me, especially playing in front of the best crowd ever. And
Eala, the phenomenon. We didn't know, largely, the tennis community a year ago.
Alicia Parks, the American she was facing, later told reporters she couldn't find her focus. Eala took the first set 6-0 in 34 minutes. "I was just so focused on the crowd in the first set," Parks said, which is why it went the way it went. Parks pulled herself together, relied on 12 aces across the match, and won in 3 sets. But even in defeat, Eala's post-match press conference livestream drew over 100,000 views. More than Sabalenka, more than Alcaraz, both competing at the same tournament on the same day. Sabalenka is the world number 1. Alcaraz is arguably the most marketable player in men's tennis right now. Eala had just lost in the first round and outpulled both of them online. That is a data point the sport needs to sit with. That is when Martina Navratilova sat down on Tennis Channel and said what she said. 18 Grand Slam singles titles, a career spanning 4 decades. Navratilova has seen every version of tennis fandom that has ever existed. Borgmania, Agassi crowds, Federer's following, Serena's era. She is not someone who gets rattled by a big crowd. But what happened on Court 6 rattled her enough to say something publicly, on live television, directed straight at the people who make scheduling decisions. It's amazing that people were so nicely standing in line, Navratilova said, but they would be there for at least an hour if they ever got to the match. So kudos to the fans, the players have no idea this is happening. Then she addressed the structural problem directly. The organizers need to keep more in mind where the players are from and what the actual fan base is here. There's a massive Filipino audience in Melbourne, in Australia, so keep that in mind next time you make the schedule. Lindsay Davenport went further. She probably needed to be on a bigger show court. She's probably the most famous female from the Philippines, certainly one of the most famous people to come through their sporting world. Veteran tennis journalist Ben Rothenberg called the court placement unwise before the match had even started. Jose Morgado put it more bluntly, putting Eala on court 6 is just dumb. These are not casual observers. These are people who have covered professional tennis at the highest level for years. That kind of convergence doesn't happen around a scheduling decision unless the scheduling decision was genuinely indefensible. Navratilova wasn't reacting to Eala's tennis. She was reacting to Eala's pull, her gravity, the way an entire city reorganized itself around a first-round match featuring a player ranked 49th. That doesn't show up in a ranking algorithm. It doesn't register in a seating committee meeting, but it shows up in a queue that stretches past a Grand Slam show court, and it shows up in a press conference viewership number that beats the world number one. Now, the shirt. Everything that happened in Melbourne had already been previewed 6 months earlier. In July 2025, Alex Eala made her Wimbledon debut. Nike wanted to mark the moment, not with a shoe deal or a campaign billboard, with a hair tie, a custom white hair tie, designed in the form of a Sampaguita blossom. The Sampaguita is the national flower of the Philippines, officially designated since 1934. Small, white, fragrant, one of the most recognized symbols of Filipino identity at home and across the diaspora. Nike packaged it in a minimalist white box with a handwritten note inside. Every dream begins as a seed. Nike Philippines confirmed it was a one-off gift, not a product, a statement about who Eala is and where she comes from. Eala wore it onto Wimbledon's center court. She posted about it the same day. The Sampaguita, the flower of my country, a reminder of where I come from, and everything that brought me here.
I feel so honored and I feel so blessed. The flower in the hair was an idea of Nike's.
Nike Women's account replied, "The bloom has just begun." That exchange moved fast across Filipino social media, but Nike was already thinking beyond a single social moment. In August 2025, Park Access, the official Nike retailer for the Philippines, dropped the Nike Bayou in Full Bloom collection. A t-shirt, a tote bag, a ball cap. The t-shirt was the centerpiece. Designed by Manila-based artist Georgina Camus, it featured the Sampaguita flower set against a tennis court backdrop. Camus described it as a symbol of discipline, courage, and full-circle growth, designed to inspire the next generation to bloom in their own time. Unveiled through a Vogue Philippines cover shoot photographed by Mark Nickdow. When Eala appeared in the Sampaguita tee on set, her father, quietly watching from behind the photographer, clocked her reaction before the editorial team did. "You know she likes what she's wearing," he said. "She's smiling, oh." Then the drop happened, gone. The women's tee sold out. eBay listings appeared across the United States, all sizes, XS through L, men's and women's cuts, from sellers in California, New Jersey, and beyond. The domestic stock in the Philippines had cleared so fast that the international resale economy had already activated before most buyers had refreshed the Park Access page a second time. That is not an ordinary product cycle. That is what happens when demand has been building for months and the supply was never going to match it.
We're not concerned about anyone else right now. It's Alex Eala time. This is Alex Eala's moment. Our days, our dinners, our evenings are fixated on when she's playing. That's real tennis fandom right there. Love it.
This is so great for tennis in general.
Yeah.
I think having players like Alex out there, and she's so gracious to all her fans. She spends time with her fans, signs the autographs, takes the photos, and really just shows the Filipino community that it is all about the Philippines, and I still carry that flag with me no matter where I go across the world.
Yahoo Sports confirmed it plainly. The Sampaguita shirts are routinely sold out in the Philippines. One retailer, one country, one limited collection. Enough sustained demand to keep a multi-size, multi-platform international resale ecosystem running. The eBay listings across every size and cut said everything that needed to be said. Put both stories side by side and the pattern becomes clear. This is a player operating at a level of cultural penetration that the sport's traditional measurement systems were not built to track. Rankings track results on court. Seedings track accumulated points. Neither registered what happened on court 6. Neither predicted what happened on park access. But Navratilova registered it. Davenport registered it. Every reseller who moved a Sampaguita tee to a buyer in the United States registered it. Eala is currently ranked 45th after dropping points from her 2025 Miami semifinal run. The clay season opens now. She is defending almost nothing across the red clay swing, 67 points total. The crowds will show up regardless of what number sits next to her name on the draw sheet. That is what Navratilova was actually shocked by, not the tennis, the phenomenon. A following so large and so mobile, it turns a first-round court 6 loss into the most viewed press conference of the day at a Grand Slam. The shirt sold out, the court overflowed. The legend went on television and told the sport it had miscalculated. Tennis has been measuring popularity wrong. Alex Eala is the proof. If this breakdown gave you something the highlights didn't, subscribe. We cover the angles the main channels leave on the table. Hit the bell so you don't miss what's coming next.